Welcome back to Torn Pages, a place where hearts speak, memories echo, and love writes its story one whisper at a time. Here, we don't just tell stories, we open journals once closed, reread letters once forgotten, and turn torn pages into poetry. Today's story, it doesn't begin with grand gestures or movie magic. It begins with something far more powerful, a cup of coffee and then a glance. I remember the rain that morning. It wasn't a heavy storm, just soft, steady droplets, like the sky was sighing. I was running late, not just for work, but in life. I was tired, disconnected, floating. That's when I saw it, a small coffee shop I'd passed 100 times but never noticed. The windows were foggy, the door was slightly ajar, and it smelled like cinnamon and something warm, like memory. I stepped inside, and that's when time tilted. She stood at the counter, fumbling with her phone, one hand wrapped around a caramel macchiato, the other trying to zip up her oversized purse. She was wearing a navy blue coat damp from the rain. Her hair clung to her cheeks in delicate wisps. And then, she looked at me. Just a glance. But in that glance was everything I didn't know I'd been missing. We exchanged a clumsy smile. Two strangers caught in a soft, unexpected moment. I made a joke about her drink. She laughed, and it sounded like something I wanted to hear again and again. We left the cafe together, her with her warm drink, me with a heart racing faster than caffeine ever could. We stood under the awning trying to avoid the rain. She asked where I was headed. I lied, said I had time. Truth was, I would have canceled my whole day for one more minute beside her. She told me her name. And suddenly, everything else, the rain, the cold, the rush, faded into background noise. Before we parted, I asked if we could talk again sometime. She handed me her number almost shyly. I tucked it into my pocket like it was something sacred. Our first few conversations were simple. Texts turned to calls. Calls turned to long midnight conversations about books, dreams, and the weird little things we both feared. We met again at that same cafe. Same table, same drinks, same warmth, then again, and again. One rainy evening, as we sat watching cars roll past the foggy window, she reached across the table and fixed my collar. A small thing, but that touch. It was the moment I realized I was falling in love. We weren't loud, we weren't flashy. We were quiet love, the kind that grows in spaces between words. The kind that doesn't announce itself but settles in your bones. We traveled, held hands in unfamiliar cities, kissed under foreign stars. We spent lazy Sundays playing board games, burning pancakes, binge-watching bad TV. We fought sometimes and over nothing and everything, but we always came back to each other. Our cafe table remained ours. Every Sunday, without fail, we returned to it, like a ritual, like a promise. But love, even the strong kind, isn't bulletproof. I lost my job one year. I felt like a failure. She stood by me quietly, steadily, carrying more weight than I deserved. Then she lost her father, and I held her while she broke down in a parking lot, whispering over and over, "I've got you. I'm here." There were months we drifted. Our texts grew shorter, our silences longer, but never once did she stop meeting me at that cafe. Even when we were mad, even when we didn't know how to fix it. That table was where we returned to remember who we were. One Sunday, I looked at her, tired, sipping her coffee, her hair in a messy bun, and I realized something. I didn't want a life where she was just part of my story. I wanted a life where she was my story. So I wrote something on a coffee sleeve, 5 simple words. "Would you grow old with me?" I slid it across the table. She read it, looked up, and tears filled her eyes. She nodded, didn't speak, didn't have to. That was our yes. We didn't need a big wedding. Just close friends, family, and of course coffee. We wrote our own vows. Hers made me cry. Mine made her laugh and cry at the same time. We danced barefoot. She wore white. I wore a smile I hadn't felt since I was a child. Years later, we still go back to that cafe. The table's a little scratched now. The paint on the windows faded. But to us, it's sacred. We sit in silence sometimes, not because we have nothing to say, but because we're full. We hold hands, we sip slowly. And we remember, people ask what the secret is. To lasting love, to staying together. It's not flowers or fancy getaways. It's not never fighting or never doubting. It's this showing up even when you're tired. Even when it's hard. Even when the rain won't stop. Love is in the return. To each other. To the quiet. To the same cafe table every Sunday, year after year. Even when life tries to pull you apart. If this story touched you, subscribe to Torn Pages. where we keep love alive one broken, beautiful story at a time.